Wednesday, July 2nd, and it is a little bit before noon. And we have just cycled from Oluwalu. In Oluwalu, we took the old Cane Hall Road, which is actually referred to as the Hall Cane Roads on the west side of Maui. And we're able to avoid the traffic and have a safe route, paved route. And in doing so, we're able to access an area that typically most folks visiting this island, or residents alike, haven't been able to get to. Especially when we got up into the Laniapoko area. The developer, led by Peter Martin's entity, created this incredible path and have made it absolutely wide open to anyone to use. And it provides you with spectacular views, a safe route for anybody, especially on these Pedigo bikes. They are incredible. And what I was saying earlier, why noon is important is, if you would have biked under normal conditions from Oluwalu to this area without a Pedigo, I may not be able to talk at that point.
Yeah.
I'd be pretty exhausted. But these Pedigos have just allowed us to just really enhance this experience where you're able to cycle and enjoy the environment and get out of that automobile. To experience Maui in an automobile is pretty cool. Experience on a Pedigo, there's no comparison.
Awesome.
Yeah.
The Pedigo is, we've come about 7.5 miles. I think it's 7.5 miles to this point.
Okay.
And we've done it in how long? Probably with less than an hour, right? Yeah?
If that. We've been moving at a nice clip.
Yeah. And we're not perspiring profusely.
No, it's pretty remarkable
to
be able to traverse this section of the island up high, away from all the traffic. Is just beautiful. And the idea would be is to open up a trail network, bicycling routes, pedestrian routes, similar to what we just traversed.
Yeah, absolutely.
And make it accessible to residents and visitors alike. And I think there's a lot more visitors to the island now that are looking for that unique experience, and this would be a great way to do it, to work together with landowners, government entities to see it happen, like sort of a joint public-private partnership, which is why we have somebody here who knows what she's doing.
Exactly.
We got Torrie. Torrie, what do you do?
I'm with the Department of Land and Natural Resources, the Hele Trails and Access Program, and we're looking at creating a hiking, biking, and equestrian trail that would virtually, if you started at the very beginning, would be in Kihei and then came all the way over to Napili.
Wow.
We have a few hoops we have to jump through still yet, and a couple areas that we haven't figured out the route, but we're moving slowly. And phase 1 right now is the section from Ukumehame all the way up to the point right here where Makila property ends.
Mm-hmm.
And with your help and your landowners and Peter Martin's vision, I think this is going to happen in the very near future.
Yeah, that'd be exciting, especially, there's this opportunity to do it now, and to wait and allow further development to take place and not have set aside these corridors would be a shame. And I was sharing earlier with you folks that I got to do a bicycle trip around the country.
Mm-hmm.
We went 10,200 miles to every major league ballpark in the country. And in doing so, we traveled through areas that were well planned and well suited for cycling. It was fantastic. We also traveled through the opposite areas that were not planned for bicycles and didn't think that. And it wasn't that they maliciously were trying to shove aside cyclists. This was in 1994, and folks hadn't really thought about it yet, I think. And so I think now is the time. And we've traveled beautiful areas in the country, but to do something like this would be out of control. There's nothing like it. This is why Maui's so unique.
Yeah.
You have your ocean experiences, which are wonderful, the Makai area, but there's this whole Mauka experience that's also fantastic, and to open it up to make it relatively accessible for people would be really neat.
And with technology and electric bikes now, I think available, more people can do this, and do it enjoyably. And
I think right now, that route we just did, certainly, there are a fair amount of folks that could bike that without, say, a pedago type.
Mm-hmm.
But when you start bringing this into the picture,
Mm-hmm.
pedagos, you've just opened that expansive area, segment of our population that could really do it.
Yeah,
Many people could experience this, and safely and neat,
Mhm.
at your own pace.
exactly.
Not racing. This is neat,
I've done this kind of a ride already with 70-plus-year-old people, and they just totally got pumped. They said that they felt like they were Supermen, and so I'm just really excited about this, and I'm glad that you guys are here to kind of share my enthusiasm and experience what I've found to be the case with these pedago bikes.
Yeah, this is really spectacular, and I hope working with Torrie and others, there's a good group of people assembled right now, and we need to try to get out to more folks to get involved to help establish that political will, because it sounds like you've spoken to some great political leaders already who are backing an idea like this. It's just a matter of education and
Yep.
exposure and bringing
Yep.
folks out here and showing them that
Yep.
this is really doable. And I hadn't done this until right now, today. And
Yeah.
even driving out here thinking, wow, I wonder how this is going to be. And instantaneously it just hit you like, this is different. This can work. I can get my mother out here, I can get my sisters, my young children. This is really neat.
Good. Well, we're going to continue on from this point, and I'm thinking we're going to drive down to Lahaina, and then we'll see how far else we can go. I'm kind of lost at this particular point until we get down to Lahaina, and then from Lahaina I got my routes that I use to get up to Kapalua and thereabouts. But anyway, let's continue on. Ready?
Sounds good.
All right.
Field. The coffee planter and farmer was having a little difficulty making it viable, economically viable. So understandably, the underlying landowner was looking to subdivide and develop. Well, when we worked with them, we had a local visionary artist, if you will. He's a designer, Paul Flynn, who looked at it and said, hey, what if we sold off this parcel number 4, sold off 5 acres of land, but you're allowed a building site. This is the area where you're allowed to build your home, put up whatever you want, but the rest of this area shall remain in ag, which shall remain in coffee. And you'll see that there's a pattern here that we tried to keep the coffee areas together such that no giant fences are allowed, and the coffee farmer would have unimpeded access to freely come in and do what he needs to do to keep farming alive. And instead of having giant streets and curbs and gutters and sidewalks for your typical subdivision association fees, in this case, that money could possibly go to help supplement coffee to make it viable. And you get your own fresh coffee. Not a bad deal. But it's one way to try to think sustainability and balancing a lot of the other kind of subdivisions we've seen on Maui, where the agricultural subdivision was a great way to make tons of money because you could build a subdivision and not put in tons of infrastructure, versus if you were doing a rural or an urban one. People started realizing, hey, we can subdivide ag land. Well, that wasn't really doing real agricultural uses. And in the end, this was one sort of creative way to try to approach it. And that's what we got to keep doing on Maui, is to look at ways to find that balance where you can still have land ownership, you can own a beautiful piece of land in a beautiful area, yet still have coffee that's being produced and sold all over the country and world with that. It's phenomenal coffee.
You get it on Hawaiian Airlines every day.
Heck yeah, good stuff. Really get you going.
Yeah.
And the only downside is you got this terrible view of the Molokai and Lanai channels.
Yeah, exactly.
For us having to sit here and look at this. Absolutely gorgeous. That's Ka'anapali Coffee Farm. So it's truly a coffee farm.
That's awesome. This happens to be where Samoan wants to move to now. As soon as
it happens to be a coffee farm that's owned by a lot of people.
So they're gating this?
Yeah.
Looks like it is. Like they're putting up a gate, I guess.
Yeah.
They could have problem with vandalism, folks coming in messing with the crops. I guess to some extent makes sense.
Well, it looks like a pretty fancy gate. I just don't stay.
Yeah, they've been working on it for a while now.
Yeah, and I guess you can respect the need to have for some security. Sadly, you have to protect land these days from that kind of stuff. But at the same time, you still have. It's hard to imagine that this actually is a subdivision where you still have relatively open vistas and landscape. Open space is still preserved. A good way to strike a balance.
Yeah. So far we've come all the way from Olowalu to Kanapali Coffee Farms.
We're actually up right next door, I was saying earlier, to Pupali'i, a village, famous historical plantation town. And I cannot believe it's almost 1 o'clock. We've been biking for almost 2 hours from Olowalu. I'm feeling pretty good.
You're looking
I
good.
thought you would have had to call an ambulance by now. I think I'd be in traction or something. I still haven't gotten back, but we'll see if I can make it.
Well, it's downhill from here, I think, pretty much.
Pedigo's, I'll tell you, Lee, it's a cool product, and it's neat. We were just talking to a handful of local landscape guys, and they get the idea. It's not complicated. To be on a bike, just having a little help, that's all.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with a little help these days.
No, especially, again, Pedigo actually designed the bikes originally thinking about the 40-plus age group, the people that need a little bit help periodically now,
You said an interesting point earlier, too. These aren't mopeds, and they're not motorcycles. You still are getting really cool exercise, but you're just able to go that much farther, see that much more, and enjoy that much more, Maui countryside, and still get good exercise.
Yeah.
You're striking a good balance.
Thank you.
Healthy living, not
Yeah.
just physical, but that good old spiritual, mental breaks out here. Good stuff.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.